Hello everyone and welcome to Butterfly Dreams Crochet and More. My name is Jeannie and today I will be doing the tutorial for the Autumn Stripe Boho Shrug. Now before we get into any of this, I would like to welcome each and every one of you all to the Crochet Oasis where all of the fun stuff happens with yarn. Whether it is crochet, knit, whatever you do, it does not matter. You are welcome here to join me in the Crochet Oasis. I hope you remember to turn your post notification bell to all so you'll be notified when I release new videos. I appreciate each and every one of you, whether you are new or you have been with me from the start of my channel. I really do appreciate y'all. So, the Autumn Stripe Boho Shrug is part of the Yarny Fiber Sisters crochet along that we have going on. Angie from My Fairy Treasures did a knit one, and I created a crochet one for those who don't knit but would like to do one in crochet. Now, the one I made is 53 inches long, and my chain was 51 inches wide. My armhole is 13 1/4 inches, and when it's folded in half, it is 26 1/2 inches. The stitch is done using multiples of 3 plus 1. Now for my actual boho cardigan, I used an 8mm hook to do my chain with. Then I used my 7mm hook for the body of the shrug. You'll need scissors and darning needle. I love this yarn print, and I love this yarn in a solid color. Then the color name was Autumn Stripe in the print and Terracotta in the solid. I used a total of 4 skeins. One skein has 252 yards. I used 3 full skeins, which gave me 756 yards. And then on the other skein, I used about 203 yards. And how I came up with that is I have a yarn counter that Sis Andrea from Olajo the Crochet and Seller showed on her channel, and I got one. So I approximately used 959 yards in the Autumn Stripe. Now for the solid color, I used 3 skeins. One skein is 355 yards. I used 2 full skeins at 710 yards, and I used 159 yards out of the other skein, which gave me a total of 869 yards. Now I rounded those up, and I say approximately 1,830 yards if you want to make it in the size that I made mine in. And of course, you need to be fluffy because I'm a fluffy gal. So mine is probably for a 2X, 3X size. So if you are a beginner crocheter, you can definitely do this. It consists of double crochets, chains, and also treble crochets and single crochets. And if you're new to treble, don't worry, I got you covered on that. I will teach you how to do that as well. So if you would like to take a screenshot of this, feel free to do so. Now to get your measurement, what you're going to do is make your chain in multiples of 3, then add 1 to the end. Then you will stretch it across your arms and determine how wide you want your cardigan, your shrug to be, and where you want the arm holes to hit your arms, where you want it to come on your arms, like here. Then you would measure from, just say you want it to come all the way to your wrist, then you would measure your chain from your wrist across to your other wrist. Mine comes right below my elbow bend. So, and that is the 51-inch width, because the way you put it on, it rides up some. So you may want to make it a little bit longer. So that is how you determine your measurements. Now for this tutorial, I will be using my 6mm clover and my 5mm clover. I will do my chain with my 6, and then I'll work the body part of the tutorial with my 5mm hook. So the yarn I'm going to use for the tutorial is going to be this Crafter Square acrylic in this turquoise color. It doesn't give a color name, but I'm calling it turquoise because that's what it looks like. And this pretty lavender color. Just so y'all be able to see the stitches really, really good. And it won't be in a stripe yarn or print. I did one in the one I made for my 18-inch doll. You couldn't see it very good. So this is my second time doing this tutorial. So I'm actually going to start with the lavender. So the rows that we're fixing to do, 1 through 4, will be a repeat after we do the track stitch. So this consists of V-stitches, granny stitches, and a track stitch. So for this tutorial, I'm going to chain up 39 plus 1. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I have my 39 chains done. Now I'm going to add 1. I'm going to remove this hook and we're going to swap out for this hook. And that still seems a little dark. There we go. You can see it now. Alright, so the loop on our hook does not count as a stitch. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in that 5th chain, we're going to work a V-stitch, which consists of a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet all in that same stitch. So insert your hook into the top of that chain, pull up a loop, route, pull through 2, route, pull through 2, chain 1. Wrap your yarn and go right back into that same chain and work another double crochet. Now this 5 that we skipped counts as our first double crochet and our 2 chains. So 1, 2, 3, we will work in that 3rd chain when we come back down the row. Now we're going to skip 1, 2, and work a V-stitch in the next stitch. So insert your hook into that next stitch and work 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. And that's going to be our repeat all the way down our chain. So we're going to skip the next 2, go into the next stitch and work a V-stitch, a double, chain 1, and double. So continue doing that down your chain and you'll have 2 stitches left, and I will meet you when I get to the end of my chain. Okay, so I made it to the end of my row and I have 2 chains left. I've worked my last V-stitch. Now what we're going to do is work 1 double crochet in that very last chain, and that completes row 1. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. Now this next row is going to consist of our granny clusters. We will be working in every chain 1 space only. So wrap your yarn around your hook. We're going to skip this very first double crochet and this next double crochet, and we're going to go right into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, route, pull through 2, route, and pull through 2. We're going to put 2 more double crochets into that same space. So this is 1 and 2. We're going to skip the next 2 double crochets, go right into that next chain 1 space, and work 3 double crochets. And that will be the repeat all the way to the end to your last chain 1 space. Skip the next 2, Go into the next chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets. So continue that same pattern all the way down your chain, and I'll meet you when I've worked my last 3 double crochets in my last chain 1 space. Okay, so I made it to the end of my row. I've worked my last 3 double crochets in my last chain 1 space. Now we are going to work 1 double crochet in the top of that last chain of that chain 4 that we skipped from the beginning. And that counts as a double and a chain 1 space. Now we're going to work another V-stitch row for row 3. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn. Now I'm going to tell you the easiest way to remember this. Each cluster has 3 double crochets. We're going to work in the middle double crochet of every granny cluster. So we're going to go right, skip these first 2 doubles, and go in that middle green double crochet of those 3 double crochets, and we're going to work a V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Now we're going to skip over to the next middle double crochet, and we're going to work a V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Or if you want to, you can say skip 1, 2, and in the next stitch, work a V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Skip the next 2, go into the next stitch, and work a V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And that's going to be your repeat all the way down row 3. And I will meet you when we get to the end of row 3. Okay, so I made it to the end. I've worked my last V-stitch in that middle double crochet of the last granny cluster. Now we're going to go right into the top of that 3rd chain, and we're going to work a double crochet. And that completes row 3. Now row 4 is going to be a repeat of the granny stitch row. So we're going to work 3 double crochets in every chain 1 space all the way to the end to our last chain 1 space, and I'll start it with you. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches and go right into that chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets, 2 and 3. Let me get this yarn barf undone. Okay, we're going to go right into that next chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Go right into the next chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets, 2, 3. You're going to repeat that all the way to the end by putting 3 double crochets in every chain 1 space of your V-stitches. And I will meet y'all when I get to the end of row 4. Okay, so I made it to the end of row 4. I've worked my last 3 double crochets. Now I am going to work a double crochet in the top of that 3rd chain to complete row 4. Now, to determine how many stitches you're going to have, because our next row is going to be a double crochet row. So rows 1 through 5 will be our repeat after we do the track stitch. So to determine how many stitches you should have doing your double crochets, to make sure that you keep everything the same and you don't lose a stitch, you count how many granny clusters you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 times 3 is 36, 37, 38. So I have 38 stitches. So when I do row 5, I should have 38 double crochets. And that is real important because when we start the track stitch, we're going to do 3 rows of single crochets. And sometimes we can lose a stitch doing the single crochets. So you want to make sure that you have the same number of stitches at the end of every row. So when you start back working your V stitches and your granny stitches, everything will still be the same. Okay, so we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. We're going to skip this first stitch right here because our chain 3 counts as a double. We're going into the next stitch and work 1 double crochet. And we're going to continue working 1 double all the way to the end of the row. So continue putting 1 double crochet in the top of every double, and I will meet you at the end of row 5. Okay, so I made it to the end, and I've got 2 stitches left. Make sure that you work in that very last double crochet, and then in the top of that 3rd chain. And I have 38 stitches left. Now I'm going to back out because I'm going to switch over to my turquoise now. Now let me say this. If you want to do a double crochet row and then go back with your V stitches, you would chain 3, turn, skip that next double crochet, work a V stitch in the next stitch, skip 2, work a V stitch, skip 2, work a V stitch, and then repeat rows 1 through 4, and then add another double crochet row, and then continue that if you want just this stitch for your boho cardigan. If not, after you complete your double crochet row, I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn from my purple, and I'm going to introduce my lavender, my turquoise. I just cut the lavender color. Okay, now what I'm going to do is show you how I join my new color of yarn. So 1, 2, 3, insert here, pull up the loop, route, pull through the first 2 and stop. Bring your new color in. Sorry for you hearing the dog barking. It's a car coming down the road. Now I am going to lay this across here, and I'm going to take both of my tails and gently secure that, and that locks that one in underneath that. Not pulling it too tight, but I am going to make a little knot just like that, and that secured my working yarn underneath it. Now I'm going to chain 3, chain 1 and turn, chain 1 and turn. We're going to work 1 single crochet in that very first stitch and 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way to the end. And we're going to do 3 rows of single crochet. So 1 single crochet for the rows 6, 7, and 8. When you get to the end of each row, you will chain 1 and turn and work 1 single crochet in every single crochet until you get to the end. And we're going to do this for 3 rows. So I will meet y'all at the end of row 8. Okay, so I made it to the end of row 8. I have worked my 3 rows of single crochets. Now we're going to work on the track stitch. And the track stitch is just simply 1 treble in every single crochet all the way to the end. We're going to start with a chain 4 And that chain 4 does count as our very first treble crochet. So that means we're going to skip this first stitch and go into that next stitch. And you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook twice. And go into that next stitch and pull up a loop. Wrap, pull through 2. Wrap, pull through 2. Wrap, pull through 2. Wrap your yarn around your hook twice. Go into that next stitch. Pull up a loop. Wrap, pull through 2. Wrap, pull through 2. Wrap, pull through 2. That is how you do a treble. And you're just going to work 1 treble crochet in every single crochet all the way to the end. And I will meet y'all when I get to the end of row 9. Okay, so I made it to the end of row 9. And now we are going to do rows 10 through 12, which will be single crochets. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. And we're going to go right into this very first stitch and work a single. And we're going in the top of every treble and work 1 single crochet. And we're going to do that for a total of 3 rows. So 10, 11, and 12 will all be single crochets. And I will meet you at the end of row 12, and we will join back with our lavender color. So continue working 1 single crochet in every stitch to the end. And once you complete row 10, repeat row 10 for 2 more rows. And I'll meet you at the end of row 12. Okay, so I've completed my 3 rounds of single crochets and I'm at the end of row 12. Now what we're going to do is change over back to our lavender color. And now we're going to repeat rows 1 through 5 again. But before we start row 1, we're going to work a double crochet row. So before every section of the track stitch, after you complete 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll work a double crochet row. Then you'll work 3 rows of single, your track stitch, 3 rows of single. You'll switch back to your other color, work a double crochet row, then work 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds of V-stitch and granny stitch, and then a double crochet row, then go back to your track stitch. So let me go ahead and cut my blue off. And I have weaved my other ends in. So this is how I join my new color. I'm going to bring my working yarn in between the 2 ends that I will be securing with a little knot. And you just want to pull it just a little bit, not too tight. You don't want to make your stitches too tight. There we go. And now we'll find our working tail. And we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn. We're not working back into this very first stitch here. We're going to go into the next stitch and work 1 double crochet and 1 double crochet in the top of every stitch until we get to the end of the row. So put 1 double crochet in the top of every single crochet until the end, and I'll meet y'all when I get to the end of my row. Okay, so I made it to the end of my double crochet row, which is row 13, and I still have 38 stitches. Now we're fixing to repeat rows 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So rows 1 through 12 is your repeat rows. Well, I guess you could say rows 1 through 13 is your repeat rows. Now what I did with mine, I worked up so many rounds with the granny stitches and this track stitch. Then when I knew how many inches I wanted to make mine long. Then I divided those. I did 16 inches where I did the granny stitch and the V-stitch with the track stitch like we're doing here. Then when I got to the center, I did so many inches with just these stitches of my boho. So that is an option that you can do. And then I went back and did 16 inches to finish. So we're going to chain 3 and turn. We're going to skip this first double crochet and this next double crochet and go into that next double crochet, and we're going to work a V-stitch. That's a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet all in the same stitch. Skip the next 2 and go into the next stitch and work a V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. You're going to repeat that all the way to the end, and I'll meet you at the end of row 14. Okay, I've worked my last V-stitch and I got 2 stitches left. I'm going to skip that next one, and I'm going to work a double crochet in the top of that third chain, and that completes row 14. Now we're simply going to repeat row 2, and we're going to work 3 double crochets in every chain 1 space all the way to the end, and then you'll work 1 double crochet in the top of that third chain. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Go right into that very first chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets, 2 and 3. Go into the next chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets. Repeat that all the way to the end, and I'll meet you at the end of row 15. Okay, I finished row 15. Now row 16 is going to be a repeat of row 3, where we work our V-stitch in that center double crochet of every granny cluster. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches and go into that center double crochet of our granny cluster and work a V-stitch. Skip the next 2, go into that center double crochet of the granny cluster and work a V-stitch. And that will be the repeat all the way to the end of row 16. And I will meet y'all at the end of row 16. Okay, so I've completed row 16. Now row 17 is going to be a repeat of row 4. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn. We're going right in that very first chain 1 space and put 3 double crochets. Going over to the next chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets. And that will be the repeat for row 17. Continue putting 3 double crochets in every chain 1 space all the way to the end, and I will meet y'all at the end of row 17. Okay, I have completed row 17. Row 18 is going to be a double crochet. Then at the end of row 18, you will switch back over to your track stitch color that you're using. Or if you're just doing it all one color, then you will just continue. After you do your double crochet, you're going to repeat 3 rows of single crochet, 1 row of treble crochet, 3 rows of single, then start with a double, do your 4 rows of V-stitch and granny stitches, and just continue until you get it the length that you want it to be. I am going to repeat my track stitch one more time and one more set of this, And I will meet y'all after I have done one more set of track stitch and one more set of the V and granny stitch. Then I will show you how you fold it and sew up the sides for your sleeves. So continue working yours until you get it the length that you want it. And I'm going to do all this off camera, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to fold it and how to sew it up for your sleeves. And I'll bring the one in that I did for my 18-inch doll, because I'm going to make my grandkids some clothes for theirs. So I'll meet y'all after I have completed one more section of the track stitch and one more section of the V and granny stitch. Okay, I have finished the other track stitch in this last row. Now what we're going to do is work a single crochet border around the entire thing. Now that's what I did on my boho cardigan, shrug, whatever you want to call it. Now you can do whatever type of border around yours that you want. So this is the right side, that is the wrong side. So I am going to go right in this first stitch right here and work a single crochet. Going through both of those bars on that side of that, work a single crochet. Work a single crochet. Single crochet. And you're going to do that all the way around. And when you get to a corner, you're going to work 2 single crochets. And I like to try to get underneath 2 of the stitches to give it a little more strength. So I'm putting 2 singles where we chain 3. And for my single crochets rows, I'm only doing 1 single. So continue this all the way around. Now this is our treble, so we're going to put 3 singles. That's a single crochet row, single crochet row, and single crochet row. Now we're here to the double. So continue until you get to the corner, and when you get to the corner, you'll put 2 double crochets, and then come down this side and come back across. And when we get here, I'll show you what we're going to do for this corner here. Okay, so this is the one that I had done, but you can't really see that good. So what you're going to do, you see I folded this one in half, then I measured it. And it measured 8 inches. So I marked my sleeve area with some quilting just like this. So this will become the armhole. So you will need some kind of clamp to, hold on just a second. You will need some kind of clamps or something to pin, or stitch markers to pin your side up once you determine where you want to put your sleeves. So what I'm going to do is measure this one, which measures about 6.5 inches. So that would be 3 1/4. So right there. we're going to sew up the side that opens, this end. We're going to leave this end open. So I'm going to place my clamp right there. And that will be my guide of when I need to stop with my stitches. So again, I'm going to mark it here at 3 3/4. I'm going to place my clip above it. Just like that. Now what you want to do, since I outlined it in the lavender, you want to get your tail long enough. Now there's multiple ways you can do this. You can do a slip stitch, single crochet. You can do a slip stitch up it. Whichever way you see that you want to do it. So I'm going to go on the inside here at this corner like this. So my tail is on the inside. I'm going to come back down this other side through that other stitch, just like that. Now we're going to match it. Coming through both loops. And now I'm going to go back through this stitch, but not go out to the other side. And I'm going to take my end and my working yarn and connect it like that with a knot. And then we'll weave the end in at the end. And it's hidden. And we can tuck that underneath there. And that just helps secure that in place. Now I'm going to bring my needle down to the next stitch and come out. And what we're going to do is just go back and forth underneath both bars. With our needle. Now, like I say, you can do this whichever way you want to do it. Alright, this will be my last stitch. Now I'm going to remove my clip. Now I'm going to go through this next stitch. And come through the next one. And I'm going to come back around and go through both stitches where I have a loop on the top. And I'm going to run my needle through the top part of it like that. Just to kind of secure it in place. And then I'm going to go in that same stitch, but get on the inside. And I'm going to flip this out. Put my needle to the inside. And now I'm going to weave a tail in. Just like so. Okay. Let's do it a couple more times just to make sure it don't come out. And then we're going to cut our tail. And then we'll weave this one in a little bit. So what you're going to do is do that same thing over here on this other side. And I'm going to pin this one here just to show you. Okay. So once you get this side sewn, the only thing you do is open it up like that. And that becomes your boho shrug or cardigan, whatever you want to call it. Thank y'all for watching. I hope this helps y'all. And if you make it, make sure to send me a picture of it so I can post it to my community tab and share it out for everyone else to see. If you do not have a YouTube channel and community tab, post it to my Facebook group, Butterfly Dreams Crochet with Jeannie, the Yarny Fiber Sisters, and our little magical place, which is Angie's, and Pink V, still I think is hers, which is Veronica's Facebook group. Post it to Instagram, just share it out. And if you don't have none of that social media, just send me a picture of it and I'll share it to my community tab. Thank y'all for watching, and until next time, be kind, remember to smile, and I love you all.